now we are back in al-Adab al-Mufrad, Hadith number 16. This is still in the section of parents. Okay?
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم حدثنا محمد ابن سلام قال أخبرنا جرير عن عبد الملك ابن أمير عن وراد كاتب كاتب المغيرة مغيرة بن شعبة قال
Yes. Great. Let's try to see if you can recognize the names in here and what is being said.
So this one is al-Adab al-Mufrad, okay? حدثنا محمد So Muhammad ibn Salam. This
Ibn
is
Salam.
this
Yeah.
is the name. Saying
Yes.
حدثنا
Yes.
قال saying قال say I think this is the name أخبرنا جرير.
No. Akhbarana is not part of the name. Akh, from Akhbarana, he gave us khabar.
Oh yes, inform
Akhbarna.
inform
He informed us. Yes.
inform us. An Abdul Malikil.
Yeah.
Uh,
Jarir. So let me get you oriented.
I
Okay.
believe Jarir inform us.
So yes, Jarir informed us from an.
Yeah, this is the name Abdul Malik ibn Umair.
Yes, that uh, Jarir informed them from, meaning Jarir heard from Abdul Malik bin Umair, and then from an.
And from Varadin Katibil Mughirat.
Yes, Warrad is the name. I'll help you here. Okay, Katib al-Mughira, Mughira bin Shu'bah. So al-Mughira bin Shu'bah is a name. Katib, what does that mean?
Katib program.
Writer,
Yeah,
writer.
yeah.
Okay, so back then, obviously, in the old days, there weren't, and not everybody knew how to read and write, for example. Or when you're a big person, a senior person, an elite, then you can have writers for you that are writing for you. Okay, so Warrad was the writer, the scribe for Al-Mughira bin Shu'bah, who is the companion of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Okay, so Warad is the
Writer.
katib. Yes, yes, makes sense.
Yes.
So Imam al-Bukhari, he said that Muhammad bin Salam told us. Imam Bukhari is a student, so Muhammad bin Salam told us and said that Jarir informed us from Abdul Malik bin Umair from Warrad, who was the scribe of Al-Mughira bin Shu'bah, who said, good? Okay, now continue.
كتب معاوية إلى المغيرة.
What does that mean?
So معاوية كتب right to مغيرة
Wrote.
to مغيرة.
Yeah. Yeah, he wrote to Mughira, meaning he sent a message, a written message to Mughira. What was the message? Muawiyah, radiallahu anh, he sent a
Message to
message to Mughira, a letter to Mughira. And then what did the letter say?
uh, اكتب اكتب
Mm.
اكتب
Mm-hmm. Good job. How did you know this was uktub and not aktub or iktub? How did you know?
Um, I just
You
remembered.
just knew?
No, you told us. You told us, right?
I told you. Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
it's the um
Third
third
letter.
letter has
Yes.
Dhamma, Kasra or Fatha, so you will pronounce
Yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah. Awesome. Great. I'm glad you remembered. So uktub.
Uktub ilayya
Hmm.
bima samita min Rasulillahi sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
Yes. What does it mean?
Uh, okay, to write to me. uh,
Yes.
Samita heard from
Hmm.
Rasulullah
You
sallallahu
heard. Samata. What you heard.
alaihi. You heard from from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the
Yeah.
messenger.
Very good. Uktub ilayya. Write to me. Bima samata. Whatever you heard
From
from Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Okay, bima sami'ta min Rasulillah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Uktub ilayya bima sami'ta min Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Clear? This is easy.
yeah.
Rahat, this is easy.
It's easy.
Okay, good. Okay, continue.
Qala warad warad
Warrad, warrad.
warad
Mm.
warad said
Yeah, warrad said.
فأملي علي
فأملا عليّ.
فأملى علي.
Yeah. فأملا, meaning he, multiple ways to translate that. It means he dictated to me. Okay. Literally it means dictated upon me, but you don't say it that way. You say he dictated to me. فأملا عليّ.
وكتبت بيدي.
Yes. And
كتبت and I wrote.
mhm,
Uh, I believe this is hands.
yes, with my hands. And I wrote with my hands. Good job. MashaAllah, your Arabic is becoming really strong.
I hope so. I wish. إني سميته
Mhm.
ينحي. I سميته. I who? I heard. What
Yep,
is
I heard him. سمعته.
I heard him.
Mhm,
ينهى عن كثرة السؤال.
mhm.
سؤال.
Su'al. Yeah. I heard him prohibit yanha, to stop, to say not to do. I
Oh,
heard him yanha, prohibit from
too many questions?
too many questions, from asking too many questions. Yes, asking is implied. The word asking is not there. I he asked. I heard him. I
Uh-huh.
in fact heard him prohibit from asking too many questions. إني سمعته ينهى عن كثرة السؤال. Okay.
وإضاعة المال.
Mhm.
M-
إداعة, meaning to waste, wasting.
Mal means money, bank or
Yes, correct. Wealth. And to wasting money, wasting wealth, meaning to do, using money to do silly things. Okay.
okay. وأن قيل وقال.
Hmm.
What
And from, this is an expression. Um, and from قيل وقال. He said, she said. In English we say he said, she said. قيل وقال. It is said, he said. That's when qila means it is said, meaning someone said, or waqal, and he said, someone specific said, right? So basically, gossiping, like, it's said, that said, without any evidence, and just, talking about useless things. Qila waqal. He said, she said, you know what she said, you know what he said, he said this, and he said that, and she said this, and she said that, like that. That's called in Arabic qila waqal. Okay? It is said, or he said. Okay? So what is this? This is an advice that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam gave to al-Mughira bin Shu'bah, the companion of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Okay? Got it? So let's read this again. كتب معاوية إلى المغيرة. Muawiyah wrote to Mughira, اكتب إلي بما سمعت من رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. Write down for me what you heard from Rasulullah صلى الله عليه وسلم. Then Warrad said, this is the Warrad, the Katib, right? Then Warrad is the one who is the scribe of Mughira, radiallahu anh, right? So Warrad said that I wrote down, that Al-Mughira dictated to me, right? Because he's the scribe. Mughira is dictating to Warrad, and Warrad is writing, and he is saying, he dictated to me, وَكَتَبْتُ بِيَدَيَّ, and I wrote down with my own hands that Mughira is saying, he's dictating, إِنِّي سَمِعْتُهُ, that I heard him, يَنْهَى عَنْ كَثْرَةِ السُّؤَالِ, I heard him prohibiting from asking too many questions, وإضاعة المال, and wasting money, وعن قيل وقال, and talking about and doing he said, she said, right? That's what it is. Okay, what does this have to do with parents? Because we're in the chapter of parents. Nothing. Well, there may be some benefit we can extract from this. For example, if and I'll go deeper into this inshallah in a second. I had to look it up as well. So if you just look at this hadith from a face value, in the context of parents, you can say that if Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is telling us that hurting parents is one of the major sins, you shouldn't hurt your parents, for example, you shouldn't ask too many questions about, oh, what if I do this, and what if I do that, and what if, and trying to find loopholes. Just listen and obey, right? Don't ask too many questions, right? And this is a whole topic. This is a whole khutbah on asking too many questions. This is a big topic in actually Islam that is not talked about too much, that you shouldn't really ask too many questions, because what you're really trying to do is trying to find loopholes or workarounds from laws. For example, when Musa alayhi salam told the Israelites, right, that sacrifice a cow, then they started to ask too many questions because they didn't want to do it, right? They're like, what about this? What about that? What color is it? And how old is it? And blah, 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 right? And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says they didn't really want to do it. So that's one way to look at it, okay? The actual reason is because this is hadith can have multiple wordings and multiple versions. There are other versions of this hadith. Okay, so let's look at some of them. I'm going to zoom out here for a second. So this is Adab al-Mufrad hadith number 16. Then there's another hadith in which it becomes a little bit more clear. It's the same hadith that Muawiyah asked Mughira bin Shu'bah to write down something. بشيء سمعته من رسول الله. Write for me anything that you heard from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. فكتب إليه المغيرة. Then Mughira wrote back to Muawiyah that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam كان ينهى عن قيل وقال, that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to prohibit from talking about he said, she said, وإضاعة المال, and wasting money, وكثرة السؤال, and asking too many questions, وعن منع وهات, okay, to basically not give charity, man, to hold back, okay, to hold back, wahat, but still wanting more. Give me, but asking others to give, but you yourself are not giving, okay. وعن منع وهات وعقوق الأمهات, and to hurt the mothers. وأن وأد البنات, and to bury the daughters alive. وأد البنات, meaning killing your own children because you don't want daughters. Okay. This is also sahih by graded by Sheikh al-Albani. Wa'd, in the Quran it comes وَإِذَا الْمَوْءُودَةُ سُئِلَتْ مَوْءُودَة. That wa'd is the same word. Do you know that ayah? وَإِذَا الْمَوْءُودَةُ سُئِلَتْ بِأَيِّ ذَنبٍ قُتِلَتْ. You know that one? No?
Yes, yes,
It rings a bell or it doesn't ring a bell?
yes. We know that, but I did not, memorize like.
Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, right here. إذا الشمس كورت وإذا النجوم انكدرت وإذا الجبال سيرت. سورة تكوير. Okay. وإذا العشار عطلت وإذا الوحوش حشرت وإذا البحار سجرت وإذا النفوس زوجت وإذا الموءودة. موءودة, the one who was buried alive, the female who was buried alive. When the female who was buried alive is asked on the day of judgment, بأي ذنب قتلت? Why was she killed? Okay, on the day of judgment. So that's where this wa'ad comes from. Wa'ad, to bury someone alive. Wa'ad is the action. Wa'dil banat, to bury the daughters alive. Okay, so this hadith gives you a little bit more context, right? Why Imam al-Bukhari brought this hadith? Because it has what? Uquqil ummahat, hurting the mothers. Make sense?
Yes.
There's other versions of this as well, and al-Bukhari is obviously Sahih al-Bukhari, not in Adab al-Mufrad. That this part is not here. As you can see, hadith can have different versions. You see, this one has. I'm just teaching you a little bit about hadith and the different wordings. So here, Warad is actually saying, Mughira dictated to me and I wrote down with my own hands, right?
Mhm.
For example, in this version, Warad is not saying that at all. Okay? Warad is just telling the story. Okay? حدثنا وراد كاتب المغيرة. That Muawiyah wrote to Mughira. He didn't say, I wrote it down. Okay? He didn't say that. And the wordings are different. For example, Muawiyah here is saying, Uktub ilayya bima sami'ta min Rasulullah. Write down for me whatever you heard from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And here he's saying, Uktub ilayya bi shay'in sami'tahu min Rasulullah. Write down for me something.
Something.
Yes, of what you heard from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Okay. And here, for example, I'm not going to go into too many detail. You guys get the idea. that Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam prohibited from qila wa qal first. And here qila wa qal is at the end, right? And then here ida'at al-mal is in the middle. And here ida'at al-mal is also in the middle. But then kasratus su'al is the third, and here kasratus su'al is the first, right? And here this is called in Hadith, Islamic sciences, this is called a ziyada. Ziyada means extra wordings, okay? Ziyada means extra wordings, just like in Urdu we say ziyada, same thing, ziyada. So this is a ziyada, right? From this hadith. This is a ziyada. These two things don't exist in that version, for example. وَعُقُوقِ الْأُمَّهَاتِ وَعَنْ وَأْدِ الْبَنَاتِ. Right? This one doesn't exist here, for example. Right? And this is also in al-Adab al-Mufrad. And what's different here is the chain, you see. So Imam Bukhari is hearing from Muhammad bin Salam in both of these hadiths, right? So Imam Bukhari's teacher is Muhammad bin Salam. But in this chain, Muhammad bin Salam said that he heard from Jarir, right? Here, he's saying in this chain, Hushaym and Abdul Malik bin Umair told him, okay? There's no Jarir in the middle. Do you see that? So here is Abdul Malik bin Umair. Jarir heard from Abdul Malik bin Umair, but here he is saying Hushaym instead of Jarir. He heard from Abdul Malik bin Umair. Then from Warrad, and that is the same from Abdul Malik bin Umair, then from Warrad. Do you see there's a different person in the middle? Here's Jarir, and here is Hushaym, and that's completely normal to have multiple chains with different narrators in the middle. Make sense? So since the narrator is different, obviously the way the hadith will be narrated will be different too, most likely. Because, people used to talk about what Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, not exactly always, okay? Or not what others people said, not exactly. Like, Rahat, if you and Mavish, they go to a place, they go to the mall, and something happens, and you tell me a story. You both were there, you both were together, but you tell me a story, you're gonna use different words, right? It's like that.
You're right.
Right? And you might remember more than the other person. One might remember more. So here, Hushaym remembers more, right? There's two more things. Or maybe Hushaym got confused with something else, and he added something that probably wasn't part of this event. Okay, that can also happen. So that's why these ziyadas are looked upon with a lot of scrutiny. Do you know what I'm saying? You question things. It's like there's a ziyada here, there's not here. Which one is more authentic? So look at so Adab al-Mufrad is a book with less authentic. They're still authentic, but there's less authentic than actual book of Sahih Bukhari. So Imam Bukhari has these two books, right? At least there's a Sahih Bukhari with a highly, highly authentic hadith, and Adab al-Mufrad, which is a little bit less. Okay, so in this version, let's see. So this is a completely different chain. Imam Bukhari heard from Yaqub bin Ibrahim, not Muhammad bin Salam. And then that has a different chain altogether, going up to uh, Warrad. Warrad's name is not mentioned over here. It just says حدثني كاتب المغيرة. But now when you hear كاتب المغيرة, what are you going to assume? You already know that that person, his name is Warrad, right? قال كتب معاوية, right? Okay. So here it says أنكتب. So Mughira said that اكتب إلي بشيء سمعته من النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم. Write down for me what you heard from the Prophet, not Rasulullah, but the Prophet. Here the wording is different. فكتب إليه, then he wrote down for me سمعت النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم يقول. Okay, there's another fascinating thing I want to highlight, inshallah, in a second. I heard the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم say, إن الله كره لكم ثلاثا, that Allah dislikes three things from you. Inna Allah kariha, from karaha. Karaha to means to dislike. The word makruh, for example, something that is disliked. Inna Allah kariha lakum thalathan. Allah dislikes three things from you. Qila wa qal wa ida'atil mal wa ida'atal mal wa kathratas su'al. Allah dislikes three things from you: gossiping, wasting money, and asking too many questions. So if you take this hadith of Bukhari, then Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam only said three things, not five things. Okay? Or in this instance, he said three things, but later on, maybe somebody asked him and he said five things. But here, okay, so I'm just giving you ideas in your head how you look at hadith. You can see how complicated this can become to find out what actually is authentic. So
Yes.
I'm getting an opportunity to kind of give you a taste. Here in this hadith, though, isn't this an actual statement of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam? Because here Mughira is saying, radiallahu anh, that I heard the Prophet say that